everyone, this is Radhika. Welcome back to the Rad Life channel. Today's video is going to be about my go-to foundations, and I have 3 that I've picked out. Each one kind of has a different use for me, or I'll use it if I'm, wanting a different amount of coverage or going for a different kind of look. So I wanted to talk you guys through those. I want to start off with my skin type. I have combination skin. I would say that certain times of the year it's definitely more dry and more oily in other times. But it's kind of one of those things I'm working to control. Apart from that, I feel like I have a lot of hyperpigmentation, meaning dark spots on my face and things that, when I'm going for more of that flawless look, I like to cover up. And the last thing is that I do have slightly sensitive skin, meaning I like to be really careful and kind of test out products before I kind of use them everywhere and use them repeatedly, just to avoid, any kind of breakout or reaction to it. So the 3 that I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to start with the first one that I think is the lightest in coverage, but it's actually pretty good. And this is one that I've definitely used in other ones of my videos that I filmed for you guys. This is the Bobbi Brown Skin Foundation SPF 15. So this foundation, it's a bit liquidy, so I like to make sure I give it a good shake. Like I said, it's probably the lightest coverage in the 3 that I've picked out for today. This color, I will say, is a little bit light for me right now just because it is summertime. So I'm just going to show you guys, I don't have any makeup on my face. I've just primed and kind of prepped my skin. So I'm just going to show you guys, one on my forehead, one on my cheek, and one on the other. So we're going to start with Bobbi Brown right here. So I just want to show you what it looks like if I just kind of use my fingers and spread it around, especially on these areas where I have kind of darker marks. I want to kind of show how it covers without using any concealer. And just to say, I am the shade Warm Neutral in this one. I like that it has SPF already in it. I try to look for products with that because, sometimes it can be hard to make sure to wear, some kind of SPF every day, especially if you're traveling, things of that nature. Sometimes it becomes easier to just kind of have it packed into all your products, or as many as possible. So as you can see, probably I did about 1 pump of this on my hand. And I'm just kind of using my fingers. Normally I'd use either a beauty blender or a brush, but just for today, since I'm just kind of showing you guys what I use, I'm just doing it with my fingers. So I will start off by saying, see, if you look, I'm going to kind of get closer to the camera, but all the little dark spots I have here, I feel like it does a decent job of kind of smoothing out the skin texture, but it doesn't necessarily cover each dark mark. So the second one I'm going to talk about is a Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation. I'm the shade 330. Rihanna came out with this amazing line for, in my opinion, it really helps out women of color who've maybe struggled to find different foundations that have worked for them. I know she has 2, but this one is specifically the hydrating one, so this is the one I went with, just because sometimes I feel like with foundation I prefer to go to the hydrating route because I think when my skin is dry it's way more obvious. However, if it's too oily, you can kind of set it or bake or use some kind of setting spray to kind of mattify, but I feel like if you are really dry there's not much you can do. So I like to really use this one for that. And like I said, I'm the shade 330. I think this is probably a little bit better match for me during the summer. And this one I would say is definitely more coverage than the Bobbi Brown one. So it's kind of a step up in the sense of coverage. As you can see, the colors are very different. It's just that one of them I really just use, kind of more in the winter time, and it's just a little bit lighter. I also like to kind of select a color that's a little bit tanner because I feel like my neck and the rest of my body are a little bit more tan than my face. So I like to kind of match that out. So this one I'll kind of do, I think, I'll do it on my forehead, and then we'll do the last one on my other cheek. But if you can kind of see, I had a dark spot there. I hope you guys saw that. I know the color looks a little bit crazy because I'm not very tan at the moment. Not this tan, at least. I'm kind of somewhere in between, but I think as long as you kind of spread it out everywhere, and if you need to contour, do that, and highlight, then I think it can be fine. And I'm one of those people, I like to kind of switch out foundations just depending on what kind of look I'm going for. So I think for photos and when I film a lot of these videos, I like to go for more of the full coverage just because you know, then it just kind of like, it looks a little bit better on camera. I feel like this one will probably look really white. So this is the second one, and as you can see, I took probably the same amount on my hand, but it's definitely a lot more, there's a lot more coverage with it, and I would say it's also very light, so I can't, this one definitely like feels like nothing's there, the Bobbi Brown one. This one's a little bit more than that, but still feels like nothing's really there. I have worn this foundation kind of like for going out or like an all day kind of thing. It does get a little bit heavy after a while, but it's not too bad, and I like that you don't need much of it because it is so thick. So if you can see, like it's a really good, you know, it does a really good job at kind of covering up the dark marks. I think that it looks pretty good up here. I had one over here. I can also kind of show you guys, you know, elsewhere on my face if we want to do that. The last foundation I'm going to talk about today, and the reason I saved this one for last, is this has definitely been my go-to for years. And I think I'm the type of person, if I find a product that really works for me, I will try out other things. But you know, the way I know that it's definitely a 100% love for me is if I just keep purchasing it again. And I've gone through so many bottles of this. This is the MAC Studio Fix Fluid SPF 15 foundation. I use the shade NC42. Again, this is kind of along with the Fenty one. I think it's a little bit dark for me, but that's why I kind of have that Bobbi Brown shade, you know, for the winter time or when I feel like I'm less tan. So same thing with this one. I like to kind of shake it well. This color to me is definitely very similar to the Fenty one. So I'm going to show you guys this one on my other cheek, and I want you to see how good of a job it does at covering. So I want to just show you, this is the Fenty Beauty one. This was the Bobbi Brown one. I definitely used up more of that, and here's the MAC. So the color for these two I think is really similar. I love that it has kind of like that yellow golden undertone, and it's not very pink, which is why I, you know, feel like all three of these products do a good job of really, you know, taking into consideration some different undertones rather than just like the red or pink type. So I'm going to do this one over here, and I'm just going to do the same thing. So already right off the bat, I will tell you, you know, you don't need that much of this one. It's very buildable if you want to, you know, go for a very like airbrushed and flawless look. But as you can see, I have some dark spots right here, and even just without concealer, I think it does a really good job of covering them up. And sometimes I do like putting foundation on with my fingers. I think, you know, it really warms the product up, which is something you probably hear about, but I think that to me, you know, for usually when I'm doing these kind of tutorials or things like that, and most of the time, I'd say like 90% of the time, I use some kind of either a beauty blender or a brush, but just for today's sake, I'm using just my fingers. So here's the MAC one, and I'm going to try to kind of close up, show you guys. Here's the MAC one, here's the Fenty Beauty, and here is the Bobbi Brown. So for me, like I said, again, these three are kind of just, I use them at different times. The MAC one feels a little bit heavier, but the coverage, it does not move. So, you know, I really like love wearing that one for if I'm, you know, gonna be maybe in heat, or I'm gonna be wearing it all day. It does a really good job of that. Another thing is, I think sometimes certain foundations kind of oxidize. I can't remember off the top of my head which one I tried that really did that, but for me, these three are great. They don't, you know, oxidize. They look wonderful on our skin. So if you're similar complexion of me, I'll leave all the products that I use today below, and you know, leave the shades that I have too, and you guys can see what works best for you. But let me know in the comment section below which one was your favorite, and if there's another foundation that you guys use that you know, you maybe want to throw out there, because I think this is a way for us to kind of read each other's comments and what we all use and just share and, you know, spread knowledge. That would be great. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It only takes a moment, and if you could like and comment on my videos, connect with me on my other social media accounts that are in the description box below, that would be great. Thanks everyone.